ever said. Oh my, he got hit! Look at the finish it! It is all over! Chris Weidman is the UFC!
Today, we're diving into a sport that took two half-naked warriors, locked them in a cage, and turned this spectacle into a billion-dollar empire. And at the helm of it all, Dana White, the unlikely rise. The UFC, once a fledgling enterprise on the brink of bankruptcy, is now a behemoth in sports entertainment. But how? Here's a breakdown of how one man transformed his sinking ship into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Dana White, a name now synonymous with the UFC, stepped in with vision and balls of steel. He saw beyond the blood and bruises to what UFC could become, a global sensation. In 2001, Dana White, then a manager for fighters, convinced his childhood friends, the Fertitta brothers, to purchase UFC. They bought it for $2 million, a price reflecting its pathetic state. The sport was unregulated and often branded as barbaric or no holds barred. This perception led to significant pushback from lawmakers and regulators. By the late 1990s, UFC was banned in many states and lost its pay-per-view (PPV) platform, which was crucial for revenue. Without mainstream acceptance and limited avenues for revenue, UFC was bleeding money. One of White's first moves was to seek regulation. He worked with athletic commissions to establish rules and standards, making the sport safer and more palatable to regulators and the public. He made the sport more legitimate. This move helped lift bans and brought back PPV broadcasts, harnessing the draw of violence without violence. But there's a deeper, more primal reason why White decided to have anything with an organization on a downward spiral. Violence grabs attention, but Dana White knew it's not just about the brawl. It's about the stakes. High stakes draw us in like a magnet. Think about it. A bland movie, low stakes. A boring meeting, even lower stakes. But UFC, it's life-changing for the fighters. Pride, money, legacy. And we as viewers get hooked. Every day, we're bombarded with information, but only the high-stakes stuff sticks. Why? Because our brains are wired to notice threats and opportunities. Remember the caveman days. Miss an opportunity, you're gone. Ignore a threat, your history. So Dana White recognized that the organization's failures have nothing to do with the sport itself and everything to do with how it was branded and marketed. He made every fight a high-stakes drama. Fighters aren't just throwing punches. They're battling for their legacy, for survival. And we can't look away. UFC is more than a sport. It's a narrative powerhouse. Each fight is a story of struggle, ambition, and triumph. We started seeing the fighters' backgrounds and origins, the blood, sweat, and tears they put into becoming elite fighters. The sacrifices they made and the persons they became along their journey to be part of the UFC organization. People remember stories, not specifications. Building a community. Dana White really gets it when it comes to the power of community. He knows that UFC fans are way more than just folks sitting on their couches, watching fights. These fans, they're part of a massive, pulsing tribe. They wear the UFC merch like badges of honor. They're all over social media arguing about who's going to win, and they hang on to every punch, kick, and takedown in the octagon. And hey, have you seen those UFC pre-fight press conferences? They're a show in themselves. Dana White's genius is in making these events about more than just the fights. He's turned trash talk into an art form. No fists flying, just words, and the fans eat it up. We're talking about events that fans are buzzing about months before the actual fight. Take the recent scene Strickland versus Dricus Du Plessis presser, for example.
And how do you think he'll compare to Izzy?
Man, I wish I could see you, dude. Where the fuck are you, Razor? Oh, there we go. I got you back there with your pink shorts, dude.
I can't wait to turn those into cheers once again.
It was like watching verbal fireworks. That's the kind of stuff that turns casual viewers into hardcore fans. It's absolute gold for the UFC. In the end, it all boils down to this. Community is loyalty, and loyalty, well, that's something you can't put a price tag on. Dana White knows this better than anyone. He's not just promoting fights, he's building a loyal army of UFC enthusiasts. The maverick behind the brand, let's zoom in on the man himself, Dana White. Before he was the face of UFC, White was a scrappy entrepreneur with a passion for boxing and a knack for spotting opportunities. UFC's rise wasn't linear. It adapted, innovated, and overcame challenges. From broadcasting strategies to fighter health protocols, the UFC constantly evolved. White faced skepticism, financial hurdles, and regulatory battles. Yet he persevered. He transformed UFC from a niche sport into a mainstream spectacle. A significant turning point was the launch of the reality TV show The Ultimate Fighter, TUF, in 2005. This show, aired on Spike TV, brought UFC into mainstream consciousness. TUF showcased the skill and dedication of fighters, helping to grow a fan base. White understood his audience and played to their desires, delivering not just fights, but a full-on entertainment experience. White never shied away from controversy. In fact, he often embraced it, knowing that it kept the UFC in the public eye. Controversy generates conversation, and conversation needs relevance. One thing that sets Dana White apart is his personal connection with the audience. He's not just a CEO, he's a personality. He interacts with fans, engages on social media, and isn't afraid to show his true colors. He's not afraid to call out other people's bullshit and is known to clash even with current and former UFC fighters or other promotions. This authenticity builds trust and loyalty. People connect with people, not faceless entities. Expanding the empire. Under Dana White's lead, the UFC exploded onto the global stage. We're talking about dominating the US market and then taking over the world one punch at a time. White was smart about it too. He tapped into new markets, really getting the feel for what different crowds wanted and tailoring the UFC experience to fit. And guess what? It worked like a charm. Arenas selling out in Brazil, Canada, France, Australia, you name it. But hey, the guy didn't stop there. Dana White knew there was more to the fight game than just throwing punches. He expanded the UFC into everything from merch to video games. You name it, UFC was on it. It turned the UFC into a lifestyle. Then there's the TV deals. Talk about hitting the jackpot. Teaming up with giants like ESPN? That's not just good business, it's genius. The UFC became this must-watch event, and broadcasters were lining up to get a piece of the action. But here's the real kicker. When Week 19 hit, and the whole world pressed the pause button, Dana White seized an opportunity. While the NBA, NFL, and NHL were hitting the brakes, Dana White slammed on the gas. He sees this massive hurdle and thinks, hey, let's set up shop on Yas Island in Dubai. Talk about thinking outside the box. It was risky, sure, cost a pretty penny, but man, did it pay off. Another sold-out show, even in the middle of a pandemic. The UFC kept cashing in, and the fighters, they got to keep doing what they love, earning their paychecks. But Dana White didn't just make the UFC a gold mine, he turned fighters into superstars, some even hitting billionaire status. We're talking about athletes who become household names, raking in big bucks inside and outside the octagon. Thanks to White's vision, these fighters have become no just athletes but icons, brands in their own right. In short, Dana White's not just running a fight organization. He's running a global empire that turns fighters into legends and brings the thrill of the fight to every corner of the planet. UFC is now synonymous with mixed martial arts, a legacy that will outlive any single fight or fighter. And the best part? He's just getting started. Dana White's latest venture, Power Slap, is a masterstroke in bringing the raw thrill of slap fighting to the mainstream. The concept is simple yet electric. Two competitors, one powerful slap. It's a spectacle that's easy to get and hard to ignore. White's approach. He's taking this underground craze and giving it the UFC treatment. We're talking high-octane promotion, slick production, and a heavy dose of hype. He's leveraging social media to create a buzz that's as loud as the slaps themselves. It's classic Dana White spotting a trend and turning it up to 11. And let's not forget the storytelling. Just like with UFC, he's making these slap fighters larger than life. They're not just competitors, they're characters in a drama that plays out with each resounding smack. This isn't just about the physical act of slapping, it's about the tension, the anticipation, and the raw display of power. Dana White's journey with the UFC is a blueprint for building a brand that stands out, resonates, and endures. These events are adrenaline-fueled spectacles crafted by a man who knows how to get the world watching. And that's a wrap, folks. If you loved this deep dive into the UFC's rise and Dana White's genius, smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and don't forget to ring that notification bell.